787.
787 departure frequency 15 will be 1257.
25-7, thanks.
Put it to the video, and it makes it super easy.
See, I'm stoked, dude, because this, like, I want this eventually. I want to mix it all in. I want to have, like, hey, Coleton. We're both Coleton, but like,
that's gonna get confusing.
You know, he's having this, man. They're talking about this.
Yeah.
Because what O'Malley and them do, they're like, okay, they'll post it up and be like, well, here's we're gonna talk about, or they'll have it underneath, like, caption, like MMA, marijuana, depression,
exactly,
and how this fixes things or whatever.
Exactly.
And then they just take it and run with it, you know, and then just talk about random things.
That's all
and
a
I'm
podcast
like,
is, you know.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, there's two types of podcasts. There's the produced podcast, which is awesome. Radio Lab is one of those where it is produced. It has producers, it has multiple people recording, and they make a story out of it. So like one of my favorite stories was the story of CRISPR, which is gene editing. And they went and they talked to a bunch of scientists, and they had like recorders, and they recorded and they put all these sound effects in and described how it works. Awesome.
Nice.
Fucking awesome. But super tough to do.
Yeah.
Then there's like unscripted, which is like this, where I bring someone on, like guest or a topic, and like kind of gear it towards what you're into. But if we start talking and fighting and doing everything, and you bring up like Mario and how much you love Mario Kart or something, we'll go down that road.
See, and that's why I was super stoked, because I've never done a podcast. So I'm like, man, if I'm gonna do it with anybody of you, I'm comfortable with you. Yeah. So I'm like, dude, this is gonna be cool. It's gonna help me, you know, not only help me get, you know, what I'm trying to do, man, progress in my career. I'm trying to do and I told Pat, like, I'll be there tomorrow, you know. I want to get I want to really focus on I'll turn that.
It doesn't matter.
But I want to really focus on my ground, you know, my jits and everything. That way, get that top of the line, man. I'm trying to get belted up. I'm trying to get all the work in I can. And then whenever we get up there, get that level up with my striking level, man, and just throw a mix in there with everything. We could just, that'd be dangerous, you know. At 135, you know, I feel like we can do some damage, and that's what I'm super stoked.
Do you have that backwards for a reason?
Which one?
That one.
Is that why?
I was like, I think it flips like vertically. It's a DJ headset, so.
So just straight like this.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
I was wondering. I was like,
some people have it as, see, that one will go down.
Okay, and then gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know why I made that difficult.
No, it's all right. But because some people will do that.
Oh, so I can hear you so much better though. No, this is way.
People will do that so they can kind of give like a equilibrium to like what's around them versus like what's going on in their head. But
no, I like this better.
One thing awesome about this podcast and podcasts like it is that you don't really get this in real life, like a 2 or 3 hour conversation.
Right.
That's uninterrupted and like a safe place. Like, I'm not going to make fun of you unless you're really stupid. If you say something, I'll make fun of you. But,
and then we'll both laugh, you know?
not in a mean way, but the same way, like if you're working through a topic, like if I bring up like abortion or something and you're like, well, I'm not really sure. Let me think out loud for a second. I'm not going to be like, well, you said, you know, it's like, we'll go through it together.
Right.
And figure out where we stand on it. And maybe we don't. Maybe we just kind of, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Nice.
And so you will leave the podcast thinking like, that was really interesting. Like, I've never maybe followed that thought that far before.
Yeah, dude.
And
I'm stoked. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So basically, when have we already started?
I think so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll say welcome back to SciFi And Friends podcast. Today I have Coleton Cavener, the professional bantamweight, bantamweight fighter from hailing from Joplin, Missouri. He joins me today on the podcast. So welcome, Coleton.
Man, thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Right on. We kind of got started in a good way. Like, I like to flow like that.
Yeah.
I always like to give a timestamp, but the flow into it's good.
Man, thank you. I appreciate being on here. I've been really excited to be on here, man. And and this is actually my first podcast, so I was pretty stoked to even get over here and get it on, man. That's why I want to make a thing out of this and just do, just talk, man. I like talking about any subjects, sport related, not sport related. I'm a talker, man. That.
Yeah, no doubt. So, it's cool because like when we did the whole documentary thing together, I told you like when the camera's on, you're Coleton. When the camera goes off, you're Coleton. Man, same thing with the podcast. Yeah. Like I recorded 6 minutes ago, but nothing has changed. Previous to that 6 minutes, you're still Coleton.
Yeah, and that's what I try. That's a number one big thing for me. Because some of these, and not even athletes, man, some people in general, they if they know somebody's watching or somebody's like checking out what's going on, it's kind of like well, let me throw this version of me on, you know, and it's and I think it's best, you know, man. I always try to pride myself in being humble, you know, and be the same all around. That way, it's kind of transparent, you know. Yeah. I want, you know, the direction I'm trying to go, just like the documentary, man. We had such a blast with that. Oh yeah, man. And that was awesome. That was an experience that just was so cool for me, and it's doing a lot of big things for me. I mean, it was just great, and what I try to get across is like, you know, just be the same all the time, you know, and people respect that, I think, a lot more than, hey man, this podcast, we're off, and then I'm like, shoot, man, we're off now, man. Right, you know what I mean? Right. Like, I kick your ass. Yeah, people are so different sometimes, you know, like in front of a camera, in front of other people, they're like, oh man, the camera goes off, man, I'll beat anybody, man. But you know me, like I'm not like that. Every fight to me is a tough fight, and you know, my last fight, it went as planned. I mean, as game planned. Sure. You know, that's as good as a fighter wants, to come in and get his work done, get out. Right. But you know, this next fight, we wanted a matchup at 145. You know, so I didn't have to cut hard back to back.
What's your walk around weight?
I've just weighed myself earlier. I was 157.6.
So about 160 is like nice, comfortable. Okay, so man, 130 is a drop.
Yeah. 35. So. And, you know, Honey Badger Gym, man, CrossFit Gym. Yeah. You know, I talking to them guys, and, you know, you went there with me, you know, they're great guys. Tyler Smith, great dude. Travis Jarman, man, all of them dudes. Brock up there, he's a coach too, man, and all of them dudes. I asked them, you know, we talked a little bit, you know, about working with me, and I told them I was going up, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, what weight class? 45. And I'm like, we wanted 45, man, but we got matched at 55, you know. Yeah. And this guy, he wanted to fight me, and you know, I don't make, you know, decisions on my own in the fight game. If you take your fight seriously, your career seriously, you know, you have a team that you got to go through, and it was offered, you know, to my management, and then, so we get together, my head coach, we all get together as coach and a team and talk about the best moves at the right time, you know, because in this game, you want to keep winning. You want people to want you on the cards. You want to get your name out there. You know, you want to get everything going. Yep. And no looking back. So we feel like this next fight is a good test, you know, and this is the first fight that I have not had to cut any weight. So that's a plus, man. You went through the last couple of weeks with me in the weight cut.
It was rough. You can see it in the documentary. You look good. You go to the barbershop. You look the best. And then that next cut, you know, I'm down between your legs looking up, and it's like sunken eyes. You're like, oh my God, let's weigh and get the hell out of here. You know?
And that's why, dude, I'm really, really excited, because, you know, they say this will be my toughest fight yet, and I want to test, you know, and that's what this game is about, man. I feel like personally, if you put in the work that's needed, and if you're really dedicated and you grind it out every day and get up every day, and, you know, just you got a goal at what you want, you know, if you don't want to jump up too high, and I feel like this 155, it's more than less a one and done. You know, we got matched up. Their camp wanted to fight us, so we all just got together and decided it was the right move, the right test at the right time. And I want to go October 27th and just show what I've learned, you know, and keep pushing. And you know, I'm prepared for a 3-fight or a 3-round 15-minute war. You know what I mean? I train very hard. I take it seriously. I have fun with it, you know. Sure. And that's ultimately, like, this whole game. I mean, I had such a blast working with you guys, you know. Yeah. our rolling, man. I mean, you even when we rolled, I loved it, man. You're strong. You make me work. You know.
I was super impressed by you. I underestimated you big time.
Man,
I didn't know you knew. I was like, I think he kind of knows some stuff because you're like, I haven't even tried on. I had never wore a gi.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, his jiu-jitsu is pretty limited, and I outweighed you by like 70 pounds. I added it up. I was like, how much are you want to do? But still, like, you were tossing me around. Like, I was smashing you, but like, I was impressed by how much you moved my body, like how much I'm like, well, fuck, I got to really drop some weight on this guy. At, you know, you being 160 right now or whatever, like super impressed.
Yeah, usually like I'm waking up at about 156. And, but you know, over there at the CrossFit gym, man, I can't say enough about the Honey Badger gym, man.
Yeah.
You know, I had a talk with Tyler, and we got something worked out, you know, and I get classes in there with him. I mean, I meet with him, you know, a few times a week. We work a lot together, run, swim, you know, he's got me, him and his team over there got me, they know what I'm aiming for, you know, they know the situation and everything. So now we can build up. This is the first fight I've been able to go all the way in strength and conditioning, and just, I'm actually going to enjoy going to weigh-ins this time, you know? And I was telling my wife, and I was like, man, I really, you know, it's out of town in Springfield, and she may not come up till Saturday. And I was like, I kind of want you there Friday, you know, because I want you to see weigh-ins when I'm not, you know,
suffering,
when I'm not counting the seconds until I can step on that scale. And that does make you hungrier too. Don't get me wrong. You know, that feeling when you work that hard, and then you get to step on the scale, and then you guys get the face off over with, and then you get to refuel, and then it's game time. You know, then the fun part begins. Right. You know, so man, I love everything in the sport. You know, just leading up to it. Yeah. And they got me. You know, I've never really been a big weightlifter. You know, and not necessarily heavy weights. You know, they got me a nice little plan. You know. And they push me, and I like that, you know. I really enjoy that, and I mean, I can't say enough about Strike Team. You know, them guys, we go over there and meet, and we're like a family, man. You know, Jeff Law, Jody, I mean, Ed Whitmore, man, killers over there, you know. And,
no doubt.
And man, the Mac Club, savages, you
Good
know.
Lord.
Savages, man.
We both have black eyes from last night.
Man, and you know, my swelling went down a little bit, but
yeah, dude.
You know, and that's so much just fun to me, and I'm so blessed, you know, that to have and that's why I like to talk about this stuff, man.
Yeah.
I know I probably talk about it a lot, but like, I just feel so blessed, man, that I could just come back, kind of get a second chance, you know, and do what I love, and still be with my family, you know, every night, and my kids. And, you know, my father-in-law, actually, the other day, man, he made my whole week, I would say, because he texted me in the morning, and he kind of told me, you know, like, you know, I wanted you to know that I'm proud of you.
Wow.
And my father-in-law, man, I love him so much. But sometimes, you know, of course, my past a little bit, you know, he was upset with me. And any father, I have a daughter, you know, any father in the circumstance that we were in, you know, you know, it's going to be kind of hard. You're going to have to re-show him, you know, of what your meaning is now. And
trust has to be rebuilt.
Right. And I understand that 100%, you know, and I love him so much, like my own father, you know. And he texted me, you know, and was like, I'm proud of you. And I know it's a struggle every day. Every 24 hours, it's a struggle. But I'm very proud of you, the way your direction, that your life is going now, you know. And, man, I looked at Tiana, and I was like, man, your dad just about made me cry.
Yeah,
you know?
I can feel it coming on
and
just
I'm
thinking
like,
about it.
Yeah, and I'm like, just little things like that, you know. And people see, like, this is a sport to me. MMA is a sport to me, you know, and it's a hobby. But I mean, and you know, some people get the wrong idea, like, oh, you want to train, you want to train to get in and fight somebody? Like, what's
wrong with you?
Who does that?
You
like,
animal.
Yeah.
Go to the zoo.
Yeah. Like, why do you want to get in a locked cage and you guys just beat up each other? Like, there's no fun in that. But there's so much more to that.
Yep.
There's so much that you can relate I feel like you can relate MMA, jiu-jitsu. I mean, and Lopez, man, he gave me.
I looked over and I was like, where'd Coleton go? And I looked at, oh, he's getting strangled by Doug Dave.
Man,
I was like, I'm sorry.
He is, and I love it, man. And I told him, like, I thank you. Like, I get in here, man, and we roll, and you just, I'll come in here all the time, and you can just tear me up because you're actually learning. I mean, you're learning me. You're teaching me.
I looked over, and you did the most white belt thing ever, which I do the same thing. Is when a higher belt does something to you and taps you out, you're like, that was cool. What was that?
Yeah.
I do that all the time. And only white belts do that because they don't know what's going on.
And I was thinking,
they're like, that really hurt. What was that? A Kimura? Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Well, I was thinking because he kills me with that freaking collar, the gi.
The cross choke, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think he had me with that. I'm still learning the gi stuff.
Sure.
And, I told you, like, this is like the only, like, I didn't even know how to tie my belt, man. You already saw that. He's like, but like,
I still don't.
I've been in the sport for a long time.
Yeah.
I just have never, I've always loved it and been serious in it. Like I said before, but I've never, like, this is a dream to me, man. This is a lot to me. So now I want to go into I want to progress into every level of my game to change levels. I want to be the guy at 135, 45 or wherever, whatever fight we take, whatever's set in, whatever's the right move at the right time. I want to be the guy that's well-rounded, not the guy that's like, hey, he's got some striking, so if we put him on his back, then it's done.
Don't you think at some time, though, those spaces will separate? Like, at some time, you're going to have to be a better grappler than you are a boxer, right? At some level. Yeah. Because people get so specialized. Like, I'm thinking of Khabib. Crazy good grappler, right?
Yes.
And maybe everything else is toned down just a little bit, but his grappling's insane on that level, right?
Yeah.
So,
and and I think
Khabib. No,
I think Khabib is dangerous almost. I mean, everywhere.
He proved it.
His hands, even.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's an excellent wrestler. And I love that. And his style. It's just, man. And he's one of them guys, like, you can't just. He's one of them guys, we work a lot of sprawls. Like, if he's a wrestler, just sprawl him, bro. Sprawl him, get back up, and bring your fight back up. But Khabib is one of those guys, you can sprawl him one time, two times, but he's not stopping. He's consistent. Yeah. And then he'll throw some. Yeah. He's getting you where he wants you. And that's ultimately where I want to be, Even if say we're standing up and I'm taking, I'm leading the dance, you know what I mean? I want to be able to at any time take you anywhere I want to go and just dominate the fight. And that's what me and Lopez were talking about, and that's why I'm so interested to work with you guys at Mat Club. I feel like all of this will help anybody's MMA career, man. I can't say enough good things about the Mat Club. I mean, each time that I've been there has been just great. Everybody's so cool. I mean, there's no egos there, man. It's all work.
If there is, it doesn't last long.
Yeah, and it's all. Everybody is trying to help each other, make each other better, and that's and he says he sees our video about I try to go around to work with everybody, and I show everybody appreciation. I'm so thankful, like, and his knowledge he gives me is just. He gave me some great knowledge, man.
In one night of rolling.
In one night, and not just in
just loaded with it.
Not just in rolling, just in life in general. Like, this sport of MMA, like jiu-jitsu and the Gracie, all this, it runs together, man, with life.
Mixed martial. Oh yeah, with life. I got you.
And I mean, we're going both routes. I'm kind of jumping back and forth, but like, in life, like. Just like coming in there in the Mat Club, I'm new to the gi stuff, and we rolled no gi too, and I've rolled no gi for a very long time,
right.
So I it's not really
much more MMA applicable, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you said I actually slipped up last night and threw a couple of strikes, and I'm like, oh man, sorry.
But I've been wanting to do that, and that's why I told Patrick last night on our last roll. I looked him, I got him in a choke or a C grip or whatever. He's got my head, and I'm like, hey. let's do EBI. Let's try EB. Let's combat jujitsu.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And it was the worst mistake of my life.
And you know,
I got just destroyed.
Dude, that's going to help you.
Oh, it did.
In anything.
It just opened my eyes to like, okay, these are the holes within jujitsu as far as sport jujitsu versus street MMA jujitsu.
Right.
I can't keep you in the guard.
Right.
You will rain down hell upon my face, right?
Right.
Same, I can't stay in the mount. He had me in mount and just was like all over my head. Just
and and yeah, like I say, man,
that's a fight. That's a real fight.
Yeah, and and if it comes down to it, you hope it never does. But right. I mean, you want to learn MMA, and MMA, man, is a great sport. I think boxing is a great sport.
Yeah.
And my boxing coach, man, Tim Sargent, he's my striking coach. I cannot say enough good things about him. I'm just kind of jumping around. Just really, I just
do whatever you want, man.
I just kind of think I like to get work whenever I can, man, on anything, on a podcast. Like I said, it's my first one, but on a podcast, on an interview, on anything, show my appreciation just to the people that work with me. If people take time, to work with me or work with my team, I'm so thankful, man, and I want them to know that just because it helps make me a better person, not even a better fighter, just a better person. Everybody's got a little bit of different knowledge to share. Mm-hmm. And that goes a long ways, and in life too, you know what I mean? I went down a wrong road as a younger kid, man.
Yeah. What happened exactly? Like what went on?
I had it all stemmed back kind of to I went to Missouri Southern. I took
I was gonna say even goes further back than that, because Preston was telling me like that kid back in not preschool, back in daycare.
Yeah, dude. I mean it. Yeah.
So you started out as an ornery kid.
Ultimately, yeah. If we're going way back, we gotta start it from the bottom.
Do
man.
it. Start there. Start there.
So my mom is a she's a great mom. I love my mom. My brother, man, awesome brother. I mean, you met them all.
Oh yeah,
great, man. And I would never change nothing, man. We're happy kids and everything, but we grew up. My dad had some problems. My biological dad had some problems. He had to in and out, of some trouble or whatever. And now, in this day, he's doing great for himself. But it took him a while to learn. And I was kind of a knucklehead, me and my brother. My mom was a single mom, so we always sneaking out, doing whatever, man. And oh man, since like the 5th grade, man, I was just like, I really didn't like to listen. I still did not listen, but at the same time, like, I kind of wanted to do my own thing, man. Right. And I went through a lot of different, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not scenes, but like, okay.
Phases?
Phases, that's it. Yeah, so phases. So I went through like, okay, at one point I thought I was the biggest skateboarder ever,
Yeah.
I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
Sure you heard about that, man. I had the tight jeans on,
baby.
Hey.
Someone show me some photos of that.
my wife, I'm sure she's got something, she'll pull out on me. But I went through a stage of that, man, and I think while we were younger, my mom, she's wonderful, man. I can't say that enough. But everybody has problems of their own, and she had some issues, with some things in her life.
Sure.
And I can say she did her best, but she had issues going on, and she was working on them, and sometimes we're harder than others. And I give my mom 100% props because, so many single parents that have issues, they just give their kids up. You know what I mean? And my mom never did that. And I think that helped me later on in life, because, at the time, me and my brother, if she would leave or whatever, if she had something going on, we'd get home from football or something, and of course, our friends and neighbors were right around, Galena, small town. Yeah. But we'd just be running around, doing our little thing. Yeah. And I was a big, man, I loved to fight.
Really?
And, yeah, I loved to fight, man. It was like, I was getting in fights in, like, the 6th grade, what I mean?
What was your first fight like? Did you plan it?
My very first fight, I did not plan it, man. It was actually on a school bus. And it's crazy you asked that.
It's like a cage.
Yeah.
It's like an octagon.
It's
a
crazy.
yellow octagon.
It's crazy that you asked that because I have like, I'm like, my very first fight. That's cool. It's so
it had
weird.
to start somewhere.
And I actually, at this time, I moved around schools a lot too, you know what I mean? And so being a new kid all the time, you kind of like already like got little target, you know.
They want to test you.
And of course, man, I was so close with my brother, or still am, but so close with my brother, man. In the 3rd grade, I would walk him down the hallway. Like we'd walk, I forgot which school this was, some Joplin school, but I would walk him to his class every morning and have my arm around him, like the 3rd grade. And we'd go down the hallway. It's crazy. I remember this, just little memories, but we would walk down the hallway and just be talking about like big bad boom brothers, you know?
Right.
Because we had each other, man.
Yeah.
And that's all. If we went to a new school, we knew we had each other. And man, it's just that always felt good, you know, to have my brother wherever, you know. And he looked up to me all the time. So we would just be doing funny stuff like, oh, we're the big bad boom brothers.
Yeah,
and then so I've always been very protective over my brother.
For sure.
And you know, I think that has stuck with me for a long time. And it was probably my first actual real fight. I forget what grade. I was in Seneca School. We were on the bus, and this kid had walked by. They're older kids, so they get to walk to the back of the bus. Of course, we're up front, you know.
Yeah, right.
And you know what really pissed me off, because they were always like giving us shit, you know, because we're younger kids or whatever. And well, my brother probably said something, you know. I'm not saying he's innocent by any means. I'm sure he popped a little something off, but you know, he was younger, so but I actually didn't hear it, but until afterwards he said, yeah, I may have said something.
You're like, Dalton.
But you know, a kid walked by and just kind of like open-handed like pushed his face across, and it hit my face, you know. So I'm like, I just out of instinct, I just pop up, and he's like walking towards the back of the bus, and probably wasn't too right of me, but I didn't exactly give him a chance to turn around. But I was so mad, you know, that's my little brother, so I'm just pulling the rug around, reach around, boom, boom, you know, and we're going at it on the school bus. So, man, the first time I got kicked off the school bus, I was a very young age, you know. They called my mom, and I'm like, hey, they called us in the office. And because the bus driver's seen everything, and I'm like, another one of his buddies kind of pulled me back, you know, was like, set me in a chair, like, no, you're staying right here, you know, like, whatever, it's over now, don't hit my brother, you know? One of them deals.
Made a statement.
Yeah, you know, just like, I don't know, I'm protective over him, and then so we get and then I start calming down. I go back, you know, I'm like, all right, you know, I'm good, I'm okay, I don't, you don't have to stay in here. So then my brother kind of squeeze over there by me. I'm like, man, he made me so mad. Yeah. And then that's when my brother's like, well, I may have said something. And I'm like, well, it's over now. So then we get to the school, and I was just waiting for the call to the principal's office, you know. So
it's coming.
They come in there, and they're like, so you know, you punched him or whatever. And I was like, instantly in defense mode. So I'm like, yeah, I punched him. Yeah, you need to. If I'm getting kicked out of school and off that bus, he is too. You know. So I'm a young kid, like making demands. He's like, "Oh, you're not making demands." I'm like, "All right, will you watch the video?" You know, watch.
There's a video.
Yeah, because you know, it had the school bus cam or whatever. It
oh man, did you ask for that video?
I wish.
Oh man,
they wasn't about to give it to me.
That'd been awesome.
But I was just telling them, like, watch it, because if I'm in trouble, then he's in trouble, because he would put his hands on us first. Right. You know, I was just being a big brother.
My little brother didn't say anything. Nothing to him.
Yeah, I left that part out. But, you know, and it's crazy. So yeah, at a young age, man, I was just like, seemed like that was always my first reaction. Like, I was just, and I enjoyed it. And like, you know, I was just getting fights for no reason a lot of times. I mean, just like, and I was terrible at mouthing people. Like, that's like, I'm in MMA now, and you know, that's part of it. You gotta you got to kind of talk it up, sell tickets.
Too nice.
Trash talk. Yeah, and I love the sport. I love getting in there. And like I said, I'm humble and stuff, but up to the fight, I love the hype.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. But it's like, man, I'm such a terrible trash talk. I need lessons or something.
Well, I thought about that when we were making the documentary because Jody got up to weigh and they did the face off.
Right.
And it was intense.
It was.
Them two talking trash back and forth, and they had their foreheads rolling against each other. Like, I'm holding the camera, and I'm starting to get a little bit like, oh, shit. Like, this is crazy. Like, this might break out right now.
Right.
And it was cool. And then when you walked up with old Potter, and you guys kind of had your standoff, I was like, okay, that was unclimactic big time. And I kind of was like, bummer, I kind of wanted some action, But the longer I edited that documentary and the longer I spent time with you via the edit, the more and more I thought about like, no, this makes sense. Coleton's character is so strong that if he were to trash talk, everyone would know he's fake. Because he doesn't feel that way.
And that's the thing.
You shared your fruit with this dude that you're about to, pummel the next night. And you're like, it's all good. You weighed in a little less, and that's a bummer. But here's some fruit. Like you guys were just cool.
Right.
I think that works for you. Like going forward, taking the humble stance. Like I can't think of one fighter, maybe GSP, who's like pretty humble and just kind of like, I'm here to fight. He's a good fighter. I'm not going to underestimate him. I'm going to beat his ass when I get in there.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to go McGregor.
And don't get me wrong. I feel all of that. Like when we.
No doubt.
Whenever I'm up, whenever I'm about to weigh in, I'm so hungry and ready to just get in there. I'm like, man, if this dude gets in my boat, I got all this thing like you're not about to mess with me. You're not about to get in my face. So in my head, like I'm kind of like hyping myself up.
Yeah. But
I also want to keep my image, and I know it's part of the sport to trash, and flip off, because surprisingly, a lot of people know this already, but Nick and Nate Diaz are I love them dudes. Like
Kings
I love
of
their
trash
swag.
talk.
I love and I love everything they do, how they fight. And I may jaw a little bit during the fight. But that's during the fight. Ultimately, it is a fight. It's a scrap, you know. And you guys are in there for one goal to get that win.
Right.
And I love them dudes at weigh-ins. I love all of that. But, man, after this last fight, I was really, really very humbled even days after, because I went to a game, and I forget the gentleman's name, but, he recognized me from the fight.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, did I see you on a video online? And I said, it depends.
Were you on Pornhub or?
What were you watching, Cops? No, but he said, you fought, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, yeah, fighting's cool and all that. And the fight was great. Great, congratulations. But, I want to tell you where you earned a lot of fans, in my opinion, is when you dropped him, and you finished him off, you got all these guys. And don't get me wrong, inside my emotions, I felt like running and trying to kick off that corner and do a backflip and scream and hype, you know. But I feel like our team is I wanted to. My corner says, "Come back and take a knee." I come back, take a knee. At that point the fight's over. So as soon as that fight's over, it's all respect.
Yep.
Now, I'm gonna eventually, in my career, I'm gonna have other times where it's probably not gonna.
You're gonna jump out of the ring and dive in their corner. You're gonna Khabib it.
No, well, of course you get guys that'll hop back up and flip you off or whatever. And if that's the case, I just want to keep my image, because like we were saying earlier, I grew up kind of like a knucklehead, man. I was fighting in middle school.
Oh yeah.
And I don't talk to Skip Stewart much anymore, and he was the promoter for the Rumble in the Heartland, and I get to talk to him and see him and stuff, and in a big way, he is part of the reason that I even actually a big reason that I got into fighting off the streets. He had a boxing gym in Galena over beside Sonic. It was an old brick building.
I kind of think
real small old little building.
Yeah.
So I had my first actual amateur. I only had 2 amateur boxing matches, 2 or 3. And he got me set up, man, and teach me some stuff. And once it was like once I got in there and was like, wow, man, you don't have to run and there's no trouble, there's no suspensions. Like I can work hard for this and actually and have fun with it. Because don't get me wrong, you know, I like to fight, and that was my deal. Is I just like to fight, you know. And as I got older, I don't remember. I think maybe the gym kind of took some time off or whatever, and then it was like I was right back into. And I was also playing school sports, you know,
football and basketball.
Yeah, and baseball, you know, and so I would take some time off or whatever, and it seems like when I was doing that, I was okay or whatever. But I, you know, you get bored, and then I would just kind of go out and if I had a great group of friends, man, you know, Troy Albright, Cody Clark, man, Matt Butler. We all had a lot of fun, and I'm sure there's a ton that I'm missing, but you know, it was like one of them deals. We were all so close, so like, if anybody would say something to one of them, then I'm like, well, you got something to say to him? You guys, you know, kind of one of them deals, and so it stemmed from a younger age, and then I'd be good for a while or whatever, you know, and then something else would happen with school or a fight or whatever, and just here and there, just dumb things. And then as I got older, able to drive, I got into drinking, you know, man, drinking, and don't get me wrong, now, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I can go out and celebrate here and there, you know, and I think there's a lot to do with growing up, you know, and having a family, but so yeah, man,
with the drinking thing, you're not alone. Like we as a generation weren't taught how to drink, right? We were just told not to drink, right? Which is basically the same strategy as abstinence, like just don't have sex. And it's like, whoa, we're all having sex, so you should probably tell us how to do it or how not to do it, because we're doing it. Right. And that's the same with drinking. Is, you know, our parents, mine included, were just like, don't drink. You're not going to drink. You're not going to be a drinker. Right. Rather than being like, look, this is how you drink. Here's your dinner, and here's a glass of wine, and maybe you can have 2 because it's a good wine. Or here's some barbecue, and here's a nice cold beer, and you only need 1, and you'll be good because you're going to be full from that or whatever. Don't find where that line is and then don't cross it. Like we were never given that. So similarly, when I went to Pitt State for the first semester, holy Lord, it was a crash course in learning how to drink.
Man, I lived there. I lived there for a little while, right off of campus. Like,
exactly. Man, I could 2 minutes. I'd be in a classroom. That's how close. Dude. And that's like I said, it's our generation, is because everyone has that trial period of I just went off the wall because no one taught me, or they taught me and I didn't listen. Probably both, but you know,
probably a little both for me too. Yeah. Oh, no doubt, man. I had people telling me, you know, a lot of times, and then, you know, as I was growing up, I would go in these spurts, you know. Sure. I'd get upset for what I did the night before. I would drink it the next day and be like, that was nothing. Yeah. Like, whatever. We do it. It's over now, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, then, like, I don't know, 18, 19. I went to, I forget what year, like 2016 or something. I went to Southern and got my EMT license. So I wanted to be a fireman. I was a volunteer fireman over
Noble job there.
Yeah, you know, and I was a paid fireman, you know, and I believe we've had this conversation before, but I was my dream also, you know, before, I loved the movie Backdraft, man. That movie is so cool, man. And I thought that was so cool, and I wanted to be a fireman, you know. You have to get your EMT license first and do your ride time, then you go to fire school. Well, right. I actually had worked. I got hired at I passed my national test, you know, all that, and I got hired at Quapaw Tribe Fire EMS, you know, as a PRN at first, and then so I was actually like, that's what I was doing, man, and I loved it. You pick up shifts. You could be a 24 on, 48 off. I mean, wow. You know, that's the job, though. You know, everybody thinks that that's cool. You know, and I drove the ambulance. You know, like to scenes and transfers and stuff, and I thought that was so cool, man. And then when I was 17 years old, I caught my first DWI. And honestly,
17?
Yes.
You're not old enough to drink, dude.
Yeah, and get this. Hey, what? No, I know, though, but it gets better. And, and even the cop said that, all right? So the reason that I got the DWI, all right, was because I was 17 years old, but I was under the legal limit. But if you're under 21, there's a zero tolerance.
Ooh.
So.
Oh, wow.
Because I was under 21, there was no legal limit for me. I was one supposed to be drinking and driving.
What'd you blow?
Oh man, it's been so long, I don't remember. But
like something that would have been like,
man. I had
He would have just been like, just getting home and
don't
worry about it,
or not even. I mean, under the legal limit, they can't really say nothing.
Right.
You know, just don't have any more. You know,
right.
And I had one in my. I may have told you this.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had one. So I think this might have done it. That kind of pissed him off or topped it off.
Oh, gosh.
I kind of had one in the cup holder or whatever, and it was open, and I was like, man, we're getting pulled over. Like, I'm in trouble, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I had two buddies with me, two of my teammates, and they were both over 21.
Ooh.
And so there was beer in the car and stuff, and so when we're pulling over, you know, I'm like, shit.
Oh, you chugged it?
So, dude, I'm young. I'm young, dude. I'm like not even thinking at this point. I'm just panicking. You know what I mean, dude? I'm like, we got to get this out of here.
Oh my God.
And I guess I forgot. Like, I'm like, we're gonna get rid of the
guys
evidence.
in the back.
Yeah, but there's cans all over the place.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like trying to do this, and then
you're like.
And then
burping.
No,
like,
dude,
no, officer.
No, I wasn't even fully finished with that. And he's.
Can you imagine from his angle? You're like.
So, dude, I'm like, man. I set it down, and instantly I was like, yeah, you want me to step
this is
out,
a headshot,
and
dude.
he's like, why don't you go ahead and hop in my car or whatever. He get their IDs and he takes me to the car. At this point, I'm like, man, I'm in so much trouble.
This is bad.
Yeah, because this is drinking and driving. Because I didn't really know about any of the laws like zero tolerance.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And I just thought if you were drinking and driving, you're getting DWI. Well,
yeah, over 0.08 or what? 0.08 or over.
But he was talking to me, and so he was kind of like, because I knew my buddies, they were over 21, you know. Mm-hmm. So he was like, who bought the beer?
Oof.
And I was like, man, I already had the beer. Like, that beer is my beer. He's like, who bought the beer? Was it one of them? I'm like, no, man, I had the beer. Like, I mean,
was that the truth? Or did they buy it? Who cares now?
At this point, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
And I think we all kind of just pitched in.
I'm sure,
It
yeah.
was just one of them deals. And
but you don't want to rat out on one of your friends.
Yeah,
though.
I didn't want to.
No.
No matter what I said, I felt like he was going to be like, oh, yeah, they're in trouble, you know?
Right.
But because I was a minor, you know, and I just had beer, and so
if you would have told them, I mean, one of those guys could have gone to prison. Like, yeah, big deal.
And so my buddies, they were in the car probably freaking out.
Oh, I would have been.
And ultimately, he was basically like, I was like, man, I'll be cool with you, man. Like, whatever we needed to do. Like, don't let them get in trouble, please, man. I'm the one who went and picked them up. I had the beer in the car. I was taking them.
Yeah.
You know, made up just some story. I was dropping them off. You know, we weren't about to go party with these 224 packs. Like, like we weren't gonna do that.
It's your most valiant effort to get out.
Well, the guy was finally like, you know what? I'm gonna let them go, but I'm taking you in. You know. Were you blowing this? And I don't remember what it was. And then he was like, we're going to take you to the substation. You're going to blow again. Well, then I'm like, well, I'm already going. So we're kind of bullshitting a little bit and BSing on the way. And I'm like, man, it was just a stupid move. Like, I don't feel like I don't feel like I messed up. And then we got there and he's like, well, you're not over the legal limit, but it's a zero tolerance. So, you know, I've got to charge you, you know. And so I went to Jasper County Jail at 17 years old. I'm like scared to death. This is like my first time going to a county jail. And I'm like, like, what's about to happen? Like, somebody come and get me, please. Yeah. But, you know, luckily my buddies, because they were all worried, and they knew they knew, like, he's going to do everything he can to get us out of here. Like, I was never that kind of person. Just be like, yep, he bought it. Yeah, I was getting ready to hand that to him.
No, you wouldn't have lasted this long. They would have beat the shit out of you.
So that happened. They let them walk and everything, and I ended up making a bond or whatever, and they ended up dropping it down to, it was because it wasn't like driving while intoxicated,
right? So
they just gave me a BAC, which is a blood alcohol content. So that was on my record or whatever, but it wasn't like high on my record, you know. It's kind of like supposedly
didn't seem that serious.
Yeah. So when I applied for the fireman's job, I made a huge mistake, and on my application, I said I had never been charged with anything, you know, and they do a government check.
Right.
And so, man, I worked there for like almost a month, like 3 weeks, or maybe even a couple months. I don't even remember how long, but I knew something was wrong because I got a call. You know, I think it was my sergeant, and then we go in there with my captain or whatever. And when everybody's in the office waiting on you,
not a good sign. You're either getting a promotion or you're getting cut.
And I knew, and I had a feeling, man, because I was kind of worried about this. Because I was like, man, I should put it down. I should be honest, but I'm toast either way.
Right.
They're not gonna. They can't. You know, they can't hire me. And I think if I wouldn't have lied on it, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
But since I didn't put it down, you know, they were like, well, now, you know, we honestly don't want to fire you, man.
Yeah.
And they called me Slim, man. It was cool. I loved it. It was my dream, man. And they didn't want to fire me, but they were like, well, you know, you can't drive an ambulance because if something happens, somebody hits you or you get an fender bender, anything, then, you know,
lawsuits.
They're gonna, lawsuits like crazy. So I was never mad at them, you know. I was mad at myself. So after that happened, man, I went through this just F everything mode, man. And I was like, man, I went on a binge of partying.
Oh, yeah.
You know, caught a couple more.
Ooh.
You know, I just didn't. It was like almost like, man, I lost my dream job. Like, shit, this is all over, man. This is it. Like, I wanted that job, and now I got stripped away from me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then now, might as well go back to drinking and partying and hanging out, and at least all these people like me. Man, if you're just going out and partying and drinking with all these other people that don't even know you and going to different parties, it's not that they like you. They're just doing the same thing you're doing at the time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you know, whenever and man, it took me a while to realize that, and I started getting older and older, and so I caught a third one, you know.
DUI?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that turned into a felony. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So I actually, you know, I didn't hurt anybody, but I did crash, and so it was kind of a big deal or whatever.
Sure.
But that happened, and then so I was like, man, I'm not getting out now, you know. And then crazy enough, they released me the next morning, and I was like, no bond or nothing. I was like, something's going on.
Yeah.
So but what had happened was the county wasn't transporting, so it was like some kind of a holiday. So then like a couple days later, a week later, they put on like a nationwide felony warrant for me, and I'm like, oh my God.
How'd you find out about that?
A CaseNet, dude. Because I called the bondsman, and I was like, hey, I think somebody made a mistake somewhere, you know? Like, I don't know.
I'm a wanted felon across the nation.
Yeah, dude. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know? And then, so, man, that happened. We went to Kansas City, and I was actually selling fruit at the time. We went to Kansas City, and some cops got called to our hotel, and they wanted, like, it was an altercation or whatever on our floor and everything, and they were like, well, sir, you know, they were talking to all of us, and they was like, well, can we just go ahead and get everybody's, and then we're gonna rent everybody, get everybody out of here. Well, dude, I had no idea at this point.
Yeah.
You know? And so they're like, sir, step over here, you know, you have a outstanding felony warrant out of Jasper County. I was like, what, man? Shut up.
Yeah.
You know? And then they're like, we're going to need you to come with us. And I'm in up by Kansas City. So I went to Johnson County Jail.
Oh no.
Okay? Yeah.
Oh,
so that's
God.
a big old place. And they didn't have any, okay, it gets better. They didn't have any minimum level cells open because they were so full. So they had to stick me in a medium security level. So I'm in here with these dudes, and I'm like, man, I'm about to have to make up some stories or something. What are you in here for?
I'm a hacker. I stole some music. You know, like,
what are you in here for? I went through so many people. You know, you don't even know where I'm about to go.
Chopped their head off, burned their house down.
Yeah, so I was like, man, this just sucks, man. So
wow.
And I think each little time, like, each time I kept always saying, like, and my wife, you know, at this point I have my wife, you know, and I'm like, I'm done after this, you know, I'm done after this, man. And I know she got so tired of hearing that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just kept on saying it. And you know, I get a little older, and then I get back, like, I get my pro debut. We start training again. I get my pro debut 2013.
Mm-hmm. Buffalo Run, right?
No, that was at John Q. Hammond's.
Okay.
Rumble in the Heartland. I got matched up 135. I weighed in at 132 for that one. So that was.
You look pretty scrawny.
Yeah,
I saw the picture.
Yeah. So that all went good. You know, I went in. We followed the game plan, and that's it, man. Whenever, like, I get in there, and then it goes by game plan, and I won, and then. It was awesome. I won in a minute in the first round. Well, afterwards, I celebrated, and then, like, just never really stopped celebrating to get back into camp. You know, like, it was like, man,
You were just so psyched.
I was super stoked.
I'm gonna celebrate for 2 years. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, man, this is cool, man. And I got offered this fight, and now I'm pro fighter 1-0. I'm just gonna celebrate.
Yep, I see.
And then, it was like I got back to that heavy drinking.
Yep.
And just doing stupid stuff, man. And I'm kind of jumping back on that a little bit, but that was the actual first, you know, pro fight or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, just recently, you know, like I said before, my release date was December.
Mm-hmm.
So December I got out, and when I was gone, man, it was like, what am I doing? Like,
this is from Kansas City. Released from Kansas City?
No. Yeah, they brought me back to Jasper County, and I got out of that one. And they put me in some kind of a DWI court program. It was like a weird thing. Like, dude, they had me calling in every day. I was going to, like, probation and parole, like, taking, like, 3 or 4 UAs a week. All right, you couldn't drive. You had to find your own rides.
Oof.
And I'm not saying that thing's set up for failure, but they make it.
Seems like it.
Man, dude, it's crazy. So you had to have a full-time job, you know.
But someone's got to take you there.
Yeah, and you had to get 450 hours of community service done.
A week?
No.
Oh.
Throughout the 18-month program. So 18 months.
Okay.
But
that seems
still a
tough.
lot.
That seems tough.
Then you had to pay, like, a monthly fee. I think the program was, like, $2,800 that you had to pay.
What?
And you had to go to, like, 20 hours or 60 hours sometimes of Ozark Center time, and, like, it just wasn't for
psych
me.
stuff, like
just like classes, like drug classes. Most of them were drug classes, and I'm like, man, I'm not into drugs.
Yeah.
I got, you know,
like don't do drugs, basically.
Yeah, like basically, like, you know, there's other ways out. But I was still kind of young, so I was like, man, I'm not trying to hear this. Like,
right.
Let me just get back home and whatever. And
yeah, but you're not doing drugs either, though. So
no,
it's kind of like, why am I here?
Yeah, and I was, and a lot of them, man, a lot of them was just like,
inefficient.
A lot of them was just like, oh, hey, we're gonna play this movie. And then I'm going to go leave. And then, like, all right, we're in there watching some damn movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to watch this movie, like, away from my family while you're going in there and probably on your phone or whatever.
That's high school all over again, right?
And this is what I'm I have to do this in order to pass this program and not go to prison, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this is getting ridiculous, you know? And, so we talked about it a lot, and I was like, man, I don't want to go to prison because I don't want to be away from my family.
Right.
But, you know, towards the end, we had this, me and my cousin had that little ordeal happen. And
what was that?
That was, okay, so man.
So I just to let you know where I'm thinking, like, I thought all that you just told me was the cousin thing.
No, see, this is over pretty much like, this is.
Let's recap real quick. So all these things happen. You get your little blood alcohol content. That's kind of what starts this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then you get fired from the fire department.
Right. And
then fired from the fire department. And then it kind of spirals. You start getting more DUIs. You go a little bit deeper. You end up in Kansas City with a felony. That whole wild thing.
Yeah. But
you get out and then you fight, right?
No, that happened like. That was in like 2006, 15-ish.
Okay. So that all happens. You fight
in 2013.
Right.
This after I fight in 2013. Then I start partying.
Right.
Stop.
Then this leads up to this cousin incident that you mentioned in the video, but we didn't really go into detail. Right.
Okay. So that deal, he was having some issues, and he had this girlfriend or whatever, and they had a baby. Well, they thought that's a touchy subject, what I mean? But so that didn't work out, and it turned out it was biologically not his. They did a test, and it was real confusing, So he wanted to get out of there,
Yeah.
So he went to stay at his mom's. And, well, she had another dude over there, and kind of wouldn't let him have any of his stuff. And that he was on the bills, his driver's license was there. And, like, you have this other dude just staying there, like, all your stuff's there. And, so he calls me, and he's like, hey, will you come over here with me and just let's get my stuff? And I'm like, yeah, but, we're not going to do this, and we're not going to do this.
Did you expect for, like, an altercation to happen? Or did he, like, pitch it to you, like, let's just go get my stuff. I just need someone to be there with me. Or was he kind of like, this is going down?
Yeah, I'm not going to really sugarcoat it. He's pissed at this point, and I'm like, dude, I always got your back,
Right.
And I think this is what really, like, opened up my eyes, because I'm like, man, I got a family. But I was like, yeah, dude, let's go.
Yeah.
Wasn't really thinking. We went over there, and the dude comes out throwing his arms up, and that's his house. So
yeah.
I'm like, dude, so I had a temper problem at the time, so I hop out, and I'm like,
well, I mean, if you wouldn't be mad, it would be weird.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, come out here, man. We're not coming up there. If you want to have problems, and come out here. You know what I mean? It's just one of them deals.
Sure.
And he wouldn't or whatever, and then my cousin's beating on the door and this and that, and man, it all went kind of bad. He ended up, the garage door was open, and he just lost it emotionally, and went in there, and it was a couple little altercation swings here and there, and the guy ended up actually had a knife and cut an artery in his hand all the way down, almost bled out and died. So whoa. Yeah, they said, like, I forget exactly what the details was, but, like, the surgeon was like, you're, like, pretty much super lucky to be alive. And then, I was trying to rush him to the hospital, and right there at, like, 7th and Central City, the brakes, I couldn't, like, it was, like, anti-lock brakes, and I was going fast because I'm panicking, man. He's, like, turning colors and stuff over here, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get you to the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, I'm driving, and I tried to hit the brakes because there was a stop sign right there, and there was two cars, and I didn't want to hit them, so I'm, like, trying to go around them. Well, then I start going, and then I see cars coming this way, so then I try to jerk it over to turn with them, and they hit us.
Oh.
And, yeah, so then I'm not even supposed to be driving at this point, you know. And that whole DWI court thing, I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to that. Yeah. So I had a warrant, for not going to that. So I was just kind of, like, spiraling out of control.
Big time.
And I had other tickets that I didn't pay in Joplin. So everything was just so stressful all the time, man. I was tired of looking over my shoulder, and everything was spiraling around out of control. And so we got out. We wrecked. We were locked in the car. I kicked the back door open, and I got him out. Got my belt off. We kind of tourniqueted it, and the lady came running up. She's like, "I'm a nurse, I'm a nurse."
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. And and that's why I always say, we're blessed, because anything could happen. Anything. And then, so I waited there. EMS started showing up. The police started showing up.
They came to you.
Well, I was just kind of gets more stupid decisions on my part. So,
oh boy.
So when they started showing up, I was making sure like he was okay, and I was like, hey man, everything's okay. And he kept saying, am I gonna die? And it was getting pretty serious. So
sure.
I was telling him no, but his color was changing, and they were like, we need to hurry up. I was panicking. And then once the ambulance, got there and got him in there, I knew he was safe. People started asking questions, and I wasn't supposed to be driving. I had a warrant because I had said basically, like, forget that program. You guys can have that. That's not for me. I'll get a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm just being hard-headed still at this point.
Sure.
So I get out of there, made sure everybody was okay, and I get out of there. Well, man, they made it sound so horrible in the paperwork. Like, I just left these people for dead or whatever. And nobody was even, wow. I'm sorry for what, of course sorry. But, like, they made me sound like a horrible person. Well, I just went straight home. Like, I just wanted to get something figured out, and I knew I was in trouble.
Yeah.
But, so they ended up coming to my house and getting me. So this started my little trip to prison. And, I wasn't drinking, no drinking and driving, nothing like that. I just wasn't supposed to be driving at the time, and I had a warrant or whatever. And so they came. And at first, I was kind of like being knuckleheaded-ish still. I was like, I wasn't driving, figure it out, prove it, So I'm like, forget you guys,
Yeah.
And so they take me in, And then so I asked them, I'm like, I'm in this holding cell. I'm like, man, what's my bond? I'm ready to get out of here. And they're like, well, you got a probation and parole hold, which I think you can bond out for $20,000 or something crazy like that.
Something way
above. But then I'm like, he's like, hold on, I think you're being charged with something else. So ultimately, and I openly talk about this now just because like I've completely changed the direction of my life.
Oh, no doubt.
So it's like. I always smile, and it's not because I'm laughing at the stories or nothing. It's just like, man, it's just talking about. It's like some of the crazy stuff that you can come back from, and that's eventually I'll get to like my mission.
Right.
My mission with that and with MMA, but anyway, so I get back, they take me in or whatever, and I'm like, what's my bond, blah blah blah, and well then he tells me. Like, well, you shouldn't be out. You should be out if your PO will come. Well, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this holding cell is, like, tiny, man, like, tiny. And they're stacking, like, 12 or 13 dudes in here.
Oh, wow.
And people are, like, on top of each other. And I'm like, dude, this is – something's got to get figured out. I'm trying to go home.
Yeah.
And then I ask him again. Well, he comes out there to book me, and he's like, man, you're actually on a what did he say? A first degree – or a Class B first or second degree burglary or something like insane. And that carries like 5 to 15 years in prison alone. Then they're like, your felony leaving the scene. And I'm like, okay. So that alone, the first one was like $25,000 cash only to get out. Probation and parole was like $20,000. And, I had all this just crap stacked up, and I'm just like, man, I'm ready to just get this over with, pray something. We got to figure this out. Yeah. So then once I kind of figured out, once they took me back, like I was like, man, this is kind of it for me. I'm kind of done, and I stayed positive the whole time because I was like, it really sucked being away from my family and my friends.
Oh, yeah.
Not so, I mean, my friends too, but like my family and my kids, man, it was just like, and when you're forced to go in there, you're like, that's all you got. Like, I want my kids back. And in there, you're sleeping on a piece of steel and a bricks, and like people always hollering 24/7, fighting. You know what I mean? There's no time where you can just relax because you always got to be like, where's somebody coming from or whatever. So that sucked, man. Oof. And like, so then we were going to court, and we were going to court. I was in Jasper County for 2 months, and then so. They were just going to fully revoke my probation and send me for my backup, which I would have done probably, 16 months, 18 months before I was eligible to even get out. So I was like, man, this is crazy, I just kept praying, man, and And we all kind of stayed positive, like, this is going to work out,
Right.
you know. So last minute deal, we went into the courtroom, and they were like, okay, we'll offer you this. You know, you've already been in this for, you know, a couple months. We'll offer you this 4-month deal. You go up there and do this little program or whatever, and you can come out. Well, when I got up there, I was like, okay, so 6 months is better than 18 or a year. So I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do that, you know. And I get up there, and that is when I learned so much, man, you know, like, just about when I got up there initially, I'm just like, man, this is big, a lot bigger. Like, these guys are some of these guys are coming to do life in prison, man.
Oh.
You know, you go to diagnostics, and like, some of these guys they don't really have much to lose,
Yeah.
you know. And when you first get there, you're not separated by your time, your crime, nothing like that. Everybody's in diagnostics. Like, you go in there and get your underwear, and there's like these big old, man, it's getting naked in front of all these dudes. Like, you have no privacy.
Yeah.
They're spraying you down with this super cold, like, bug spray, and like, yeah. So the whole experience was just like so brutal, but it was like, I can get through this. Like, all I gotta do is do this, get back to my family.
Yeah.
And then once you really get in there and you get your bunk and you lay your head down, you're like, man, this is about to be my home for like the next so many days, you know. So 4 months, 5 months, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so when I was there, I was writing letters back to Joplin City because I had some tickets there and a couple other places. And about halfway through it, I got letters back, and things started kind of working out, and they were like, we'll give you time served, you know, we get good reports from your parole officer there or whatever. So I was like, man, this is great, you know. And I kept telling my wife, like, you know, this, I'm not gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna tell you I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do, because I've said that so many times, you know. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you like I'm done with this, I'm done with that, because I'm over telling you, I gotta show you, you know. But you're never gonna have to go through this again. You and the kids, you're never going to have to, you know, wonder what's next, you know. And so, yeah, because, man, I was in there with guys that, like, they were like,
some serious shit.
I haven't been, this one guy told me after, because I was at a going home camp, so he's like, I've been in 20 years. And I'm like, man, I don't even want to ask, you know. I was sitting by this one guy when we first got there, and he was like, yes, I just got murdered. I'm probably doing 25 to life. Like, I'm like, yeah, me too. You know? Yeah, like, you know, like, don't, like, I didn't even want to tell him my time, you know,
right.
And I thought mine was horrible.
Right.
So,
but it's kind of nice because it gave you a little bit of like something to base it off.
And
of.
that's it, yeah.
Like, whoa, wait a minute, how long are you gonna be here?
And
I've only been alive that long, and you're gonna be stuck in here.
That helped me get through. Like, I was like, man, there's always the light at the end of the tunnel. And you know, when I got there, and that program wasn't too bad that I was in there. I did these classes and like life classes, and I kept myself busy with a job in there. I mean, it's just like, it's not exactly what people think it is, you know. It's not like
the
carrying
movies
around shanks and all that. No, yeah, I mean, shit happens, you know. People fighting or whatever.
You didn't join like the white supremacist group?
Man, you know what's crazy is I was offered that.
Oh,
right?
wow.
You can, and like I said in that documentary, man, that you can either go there and go the real wrong road, or go there and just look, this is my time. I want to do this and go home, because, man, funny story. I forgot. So when I first got there, I was trying to work out to keep my mind off things.
Sure.
And there's these group of guys, I never put it together, you know. Like, they would get together in the mornings after breakfast at like 5-something, and we'd do push-ups and all this. Well, you know, I had this dude that like was in the bunk beside me. He's a black dude, and he was really cool. We were really close.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, why didn't you ever tell me? But anyway, so we're up there doing push-ups and all these workouts, and they're all doing this, like, at the end, they, like, start doing this, like, chant, like, white, for our white troll, and they're yelling it, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to just hop up at it,
yeah,
you know, so
right.
I get up and go back to my bunk, and I go down there to my buddy. I'm like, hey, why didn't you tell me, bro? He was like, shoot, you've always been cool to me. I just thought you was rolling with them.
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, no, absolutely not. So then, like, they noticed that I wasn't working out the next morning, and a couple of them come up to me and they're like, I'm like, here it is. Here's my ass whipping.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they come up and they're like, hey, you know, why you ain't working out with this, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, honestly, you know, I stood up and I'm like, I respect you guys' opinions and beliefs, you know, but
yeah,
I'm just trying to do my time and get home to my family, man, keep my nose clean. This is the route I'm trying to take, you know, and he respected. He stuck his hand out and was like, we're cool, you know.
Wow.
And then whenever they walked off, because I talked to him, you know, but when they walked off, my other buddy was like, you probably got a little lucky. I was like, dude, man. You know, that's dang. Freaky. I mean, I like to fight, but not like them guys.
Oh, that wouldn't have been a fight, dude.
Yeah, because it's like one of them deals, man. It's kind of dirty there.
Oh,
man.
Of course.
There ain't really.
That's why they call it prison rules, you know? Like
exactly.
Prison, anything goes.
Exactly. And, you know, and then they finally got me over to my housing unit. And it was so crazy because whenever I was getting transferred housing units, so my dad, I don't even know if you know this. I think I told you, but my dad was in that prison. And
oh, wow.
So I hadn't seen him in a while. I talked to him here and there, you know, but I wasn't going to go up there because I was always dealing with the stupid, like, probation officer or whatever.
Yeah.
And, so, yeah, I'm getting transferred housing units, and he was working the trash or whatever, and, like, I'm grabbing I have my bag and stuff going to my housing unit. There's a line of us, and he passes by, and I'm like, hey, Dad. And he's like, hey, that's my son.
Oh, wow.
So he just jumps off, you know, and everybody's, like, looking because they think we're getting ready to get in a fight, but he gives me a big hug, and, like, so the first time I got to see my dad in a while, you know, it was in prison, and so we got to eat lunch together, and we sat down at the lunch table together.
What'd you guys talk about?
Well, he was just like, I'm so glad to see you. And I was like, man, I'm glad to see you too. And he kind of looks at his grays and looks at mine. He's like, I could see it in his face, you know. And he was just like, man, this is not how I wanted to see this. But, and then everybody in my cell was like, man, aren't you kind of upset? You saw your dad here? And I'm like, no. Like, I'm happy to see him, you know. At this point, I've been here for a minute, so I'm trying to look at the positive and all the bads. We're both here, yeah, but I got plans, you know. And when I was there, I was telling him my plans. I wasn't telling him like I'm done doing this, I'm done doing that. Right. But I said I got a plan. Yeah. You know, I have a plan. When you're forced to sit down away from so many people that you love, man, in that environment. And you just always have to, like, man, the shower room is, like, huge, and all the shower heads are, like, right beside each other. Everybody's in there naked, and people, if somebody comes in and they ain't got shoes on, or they got their shoes on, you know what's about to happen. So you just kind of got to scoot
What's
up.
about to happen?
Somebody's about to get smashed while they're trying to shower.
Smashed like
beat up.
Okay, I'm not getting.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't know where we're going.
I didn't get to see. Yeah, no, I didn't.
I'm glad you didn't get to see.
Yeah, I said I didn't get to, but I didn't want to.
I wasn't that lucky, you know.
But yeah, man, and never none of my business I would turn away, you know. I don't want to see that.
You're just trying to survive.
And that's it. I was trying to keep my nose clean, man, and every day I felt like closer to home. I felt like, you know, I know a lot of people may not, you know, I don't know. A lot of people have different beliefs, but, you know, I prayed so hard in there and read and getting to talk to my family. And I was truly believe that I was blessed, you know, enough to get the deal that I got. Because, man, I could have killed anybody in a wreck or and the stuff that I was doing, man, I could have. And I did. I've done a lot of stuff in my life that I'm not proud of. You know what I mean? And whenever I got home, like, I just got that gym membership. You know, I was trying to drink in here and there, and it was just like my wife. We were all happy I'm home, and I got a job instantly. You know, working and it felt good. And but she was like, why do you want to drink? Are you miserable about something? I'm like, nah, I'm just, like, I worked all day. I just have a couple. Well, then, like, MMA, man, it just kind of, like, saved me a little bit. And, like, because we worked out this little deal, like, I'm going to get the gym membership, you know, whatever. We talked about that. Yeah. And then, like, the sport, I missed it so much. And, like, so I was like, well, let me just take this and so just working for something. And then now, like, seeing the progress, like keeping my body healthy, like I'm 100% focused on not only just preparing for the fights, but like leading my kids by example, leading my family, you know. And like I was telling Lopez, you know, it's not like I don't want to change anybody's life. Like, I don't want to necessarily say, like, what you're doing is wrong. But if I can help one person, because, man, I was at a low point, you know what I mean? And in MMA, it helped me out. And with the support of my wife and my kids and my team and my family, I mean, it's just awesome. And like, I was at a very low point, and whatever you want to do, you know, go chase it. There's never that time. Like, I've had plenty of them times where I'm like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? But I knew I wanted to do something, and so everything really worked out. You know, I got home, and we started doing this, and then I started preparing for a fight, and I got the hunger that I've never had before, man. It's just I want to prepare in every way possible, like, and that's why in my community, like, I shout out so much to Mat Club.
Oh yeah.
I've only, you know, got to work out with them a couple times, but I'm gonna go there a lot more. I'm so interested in that stuff and to belt up, you know. And I know it takes time and work, but I want to be in there working, you know, in Honey Badger Gym. And honestly, man, I tried this. Okay. I got sponsored by this Hemp Works, and so they gave me some of this CBD cream, right?
Nice.
And it's just cream you rub on like sore muscles and aches, and I rubbed it on, man. And after a hard sparring session, and I mean, I was like, is this just me, or is this really, like, is it in my mind? And then my wife, her back, you know, she kind of has back problems, so we rubbed some on her back, and she was like, man, that does wonders.
It's crazy.
And after my hard workouts, man, I really use this stuff. And and I tell her, like, you know, I always shout this out, you know, I appreciate the sponsor. And you know, she hooks me up with some creams and some muscle rubs. And I'm like, every edge helps, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And man, it's just whenever people see that you're really hungry, you want to progress, you can, like, and people start jumping on board with you, you know. And man, I'm so thankful, and just to be at the Mat Club, to be at Strike Team, you know, man, and just everybody that's come on with me, Trench Brothers Graphics, you know, they helped me a lot. And a big, you know, a huge person that's been coming into my life, man, and I feel like that I really want to give a lot of credit to, and I haven't, and we've just been working recently quite a bit together, is TJ Britton. You know, and he texted the other day, and I feel like, you know, God brings everybody into our lives, or somebody's higher power, you know, whatever you believe in. People are brought into our lives for a reason, I believe. And you know, we've all got callings to do different things, and I believe, man, that MMA, this game, and jiu-jitsu, and just being an athlete and taking it so seriously and progressing, and just giving my glory, you know, to you know, my belief, you know, my God. So and giving the faith, just keeping faith. And you know, he texted me and was like, and told me he believed in what I was doing, and I really, like, that really was cool to me too. You know, and I was like, I would really love to work with you, you know. And Tuesday we're going to speak at the Joplin High School. Nice. You know, and just and like I was telling him, if I can just not really tell people, like, what to do or anything, just give them my story, like, just because you've made bad decisions, and just because, you know, you think you're a bad person because of your past or what you've done, you know, like, you can always turn that around, you know. I'm sure you've heard from a lot more people than just a couple that I was a knucklehead, man, and I didn't really ever think about consequences, and now I teach my kids, like, you don't do these things, you know. And my mom, you know, she told us what to do and what not to do, but single parent, you know what I mean. We're sneaking, we're doing.
And you're
this.
a knucklehead.
Yeah, and I'm a knucklehead, you know. So if I can just, you know, even a kid, an adult, it don't matter. Like, get a hold of me. Like, I'll show you this sport or jiu-jitsu, you know. I'll introduce you to Lopez and the Mat Club. Oh. There's so much. Like, if you got enough energy to run out in the streets, you know, and run and gun and sell dope, sell weed, sell whatever, you know, and you think that's fun and getting into fights, then that means you obviously got hard enough to go get something. Yeah. So flip that energy, you know, flip it into something that is not going to get you sent to prison, that is not going to, you know, that people will pat you on the back for. Like, man, you go in there and you may be getting tapped out every few seconds, but you're learning. But eventually you're going to be tapping people out. Right. You're going to be progressing. Each time you do, you're going to feel better and better. And then, I mean, whatever your interests are, you know, and like you got into it. Now you're like, man, I'm going to learn some MMA. And right now you say, I don't really have any like drive to fight, but dude, I'm telling you, once you start learning MMA and you got that jiu-jitsu, and then you start like handling people, you know, and learning and just going, you're gonna be like, all right, I'll try it one time.
I'll say this, I really like my brain, I like my neurons, and I don't want to get punched.
Hey,
but I'll spar, I guess. We'll see.
You make your jiu-jitsu cold, you don't have to take a punch.
That's true.
But you know, I'm not pressuring, I'm just throwing it out there, like, and that's just how it works. Like, okay, you can totally relate. Like, and I don't knock what anybody does, man. I don't think drinking's bad. I don't think, like, you know, smoking weed is bad. I don't think, you know, I don't think doing whatever is bad unless you make it bad. Meth bad. That's bad. Meth is bad. Meth is, there ain't no good nothing about meth.
No one's started doing meth and like, that's when my life turned around.
Yeah. No doubt. No. But, you know, I think is what the problem is. Like, people keep doing it and then they keep like, they just gotta have it, you know, when you gotta have it. But if you flip that energy, you know, and like every time I throw the gi on, you know, and I learn something, and I'm like, man, I gotta have that.
It's like you said earlier, like when you got into the gym as a younger man, it was like what I thought of was like it's an outlet for that masculine angst, a young man angst that's like, who am I? You even said it, you know, I was a skateboarder I thought I was the biggest skateboarder, you know, then I was some gangster basketball player, you know, like you were trying to figure out your identity, and that's cool because you kept trying instead of just being fake and like, I'm a skater and I really don't like it, but I dress this way. No, like you kept progressing. Right. That's the one thing I would pull from your story, from what you've, you know, told here on the podcast, is that you always would fail forward. Like, you kept making mistakes, but it was like they weren't the same mistakes. So it kept getting DUIs, but it was like you were progressing in the right direction. Right. It took you a little bit, but now, and you know, you are here.
The ultimate, and most of those were misdemeanors, and they weren't too bad. Like, but like, I say they weren't too bad. They're bad, but like, I feel like when I actually went to prison, I was gonna make that time there. Since I was there, you can either just coast through it and BS your way through it or whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. There's people who did all kinds of stuff while you're there. You can get anything. But I was going to make my time there worth it, you know. Right. I wanted to learn something, you know. And, man, I think, you know, I prayed a lot about it. And I'm really intrigued because, you know, and I had a lot of people like on our documentary just say like, dude, you're an inspiration, you know.
Absolutely.
Like, just, and that makes me feel so good because like I have done a lot of things in my life, and I've tried to be a lot of different things in my life, and this fits. Like, I'm an athlete. I'm a professional athlete now, and I never thought I would be able to say that, you know what I mean? And I love it, and I'm trying everything to keep progressing. This is my career, you know what I mean? And whenever, and I won't take no for an answer, you know. At my division, I'll work hard, and I feel like if you work hard, you can have anything you want. And that's why I try to, have people follow my athlete page. I always post little things like that. If you want it, you can go get it.
You
gotta work.
You're doing it right now.
Yeah,
you don't have to post anything. It's just like, just look at me. I'm literally doing what I'm saying instead of just like inspirational quote, inspirational photo. Yeah. Like, now I'm out here grinding.
And a lot of people like the idea.
That's cool.
A lot of people like the idea of being a fighter or helping people, but like, I'm super excited to go speak at this school just because they got kids there that, man, I was you. Like,
yeah,
I was
no
you,
doubt.
man.
You're gonna see a whole crowd of you.
Yeah, and we had some people like that, but like, I'm never gonna push anybody to do anything. I just want them to know, like, man, I was you at one point. I was poor. I had nothing,
But you really can't, You really can't change their life.
Exactly.
You just kind of give them the information. You say, this is what happened to me. Like, and ultimately, it's your choice.
Right.
You can go find a gym, and I'm giving you the offer. Here's my number.
Exactly.
But you got to choose.
Call me anytime.
Yeah, but you have to choose to do that. Because you can also choose to do all these other things. But I chose those things, and this is how it ended up with me. I actually kind of got lucky in the whole thing. Like, these guys chose, and they're 25 to life, or they died in a car wreck, or they died of an overdose.
I could have very well easily been that guy.
That's what I'm saying. You are lucky.
And that's why I always post, like, I'm blessed, I give, like, my family stuck by me. I'm blessed to have a second opportunity to come out here, and I'm out here chasing my dream, And my dream is not just my dream. My dream is to ultimately be a father and a husband and a follower of God, and and just, that is my dream first and foremost, is take care of my family. But when I make my dream, when I keep progressing and keep moving up in these shows, if I make my dream, then I make all of our dreams, because I want to be able to do anything for them and show them, that their daddy, he was probably, they don't know much now, but
they'll listen to this someday.
Yeah. And my daddy was a knucklehead, and he taught us well, brought us up well, and I want them to not make the same mistakes I did, and I'm blessed that all the mistakes happen, because it's making me basically a testimony, man. I want to be able to just talk to people and just tell people, like, and not even, there's no bragging. Like, I'm no ego. Like,
people tend to like to do that.
Well, we talked about
I was better than you,
Yeah, and like, we talked about it, and like, there's no ego. Like, I do this because I love it.
Right.
I do this because it's what I love to do. The sport, I love learning, and the best people you meet are in this game, in jiu-jitsu.
I think so too.
In MMA, in boxing,
Some of the best, for sure.
Man, so the very best, and oh gosh, I have so many people, like, my mind just jumps around, because I'm always just like thankful to so many people, just like, man. And Trench Brothers, I worked with them a while back, on my first fight, and after I had getting in that trouble, and he kind of talked with me like, you're representing companies. You can't just, it's not just you. You can't just go out here and do these things and post this stuff.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of them jump back on board, because a lot of people see the difference, and I feel like this last time that I went away and did, that time, like, it wasn't a mistake. I did make a mistake, but it's a real mistake if you go out and you don't learn nothing from it.
Right.
And I learned the beauty of life. You know what I mean? And prison is a scary place. All around. I'm not gonna be a tough guy and say, oh yeah, it was nothing.
I ran that show.
Yeah, I ran that block. No. It's nothing like that, man. It's not fun. You got people always hollering, telling you what to do. You got dirty people in there. And so just coming out, I wanted to make sure I would never go back to that, you know what I mean? And when I just was able to kind of talk to a couple of people and just like what we're doing here, man, I've never had an opportunity to just come on a podcast. And that's why I was stoked about, like, dude, that's why I wanted to do man, we should do this. And like all these ideas always run through my head, you know.
So easy.
I would love to I would love to once a week, man, you know, anything, just talk, you know, and I just, and just think, I'm just always so thankful that I got a second opportunity to show everybody, because I'm working with a lot of the same people now, but like I was telling David Lopez at Mac Club, I was like, you know, before I didn't really know what appreciation was, but now just being here talking to you, and he gave me a couple people to look up, you know, and just knowledge about his life and stuff, and I'm like, I'm blessed for you to talk to me about that, you know what I mean? And to help me in this game, to help me progress in my career, and my family, it means so much to me, and they see me, and like jumping back to my father-in-law, you know, texting me, man.
That was at the very first.
Man, and gosh, that was huge for me, because he's some night, I wouldn't say a hard guy to please, but I'm like,
I mean, he married his daughter, like,
and that's it.
Yeah,
absolutely,
I get it.
absolutely, and you know, that really made me push harder, and he admires what I'm doing, you know, and man, everything that's happening in life is great, man. I just love being able to work with all these different people, man. Earth Labs Nutrition, I got that sponsor, man, you know, awesome. and that is great. I mean, they help out. They're a great sponsor. And Midwest, just all these different people, you know, Midwest Detail, just different people that are seeing changes, you know, and humble, and I'm just want to be respectful all the time. And I think I skipped a part earlier about the fight when I took a knee, you know, about that guy talking to me at the game.
Yeah, you didn't finish it.
Yeah. He said the fight was cool and everything, you know, but, you know, where you earned a lot of respect and a lot of fans is, you know, after that fight was done, you went over there and you took a knee. You know, you didn't hoop and holler, which that's part of it too. I'm not knocking on anybody that does that. Yeah. But he just wanted to shake my hand and show respect. Yeah. That the way I conducted myself as a professional, and just little comments like that, you know, that'll bring you up, man. And I love that. It's so much that can relate to MMA and jiu-jitsu and life, man. It's just,
I think it was Musashi, that said, like, once you know the path in one way, you know the path in all ways. So it's like, once you get it, you know, you're learning this MMA, this jiu-jitsu stuff, and you're like, oh, it's the same, any path. If I became a chef, I'd take the same steps. If I became a woodworker, it'd be the same steps to discover the skill, the talent, and myself, you know?
Right.
I love that line.
Man, that's cool. And it's crazy because now, like, I've known one of my buddies, he's one of my sponsors now, but back in the day, he would have never sponsored me. Cause I was never.
Why would they? You're representing them, you know?
Exactly, you know, and I was never really persistent, consistent. You know, I did it just as a hobby because I like to fight, basically, you know. Yeah. And man, Ryan Birdsong, man, he's huge for me, man, and he helps out a lot. And by the way, for the podcast, he does great work. But, you know, I'm not trying to use this as just shout out to everybody, but
it's a good platform to do it on. And if you want to sponsor my podcast, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to check out a couple other little things, man. And you, I mean, man, your company, this is just, I told you, man, that video has opened so many doors for me, man. Like,
your father-in-law is like right on the money, because when I was editing the thing, I told Kelsey that, you know, the guy you fought, William Potter, like he really wasn't on your level. You know, when you guys stood off, it was like, oh man, like, I think Coleton's gonna just destroy this guy, and he weighed in like 10 pounds less. And for the story, I'm like, oh man, like, Coleton's gonna get eaten up with comments like, it's not even a real fight, you know, fuck him, he's not even training hard, blah, blah. I figured that was coming, and the more and more that I edited it, I go, okay, Kelsey, watch this. Right here, he shares his fruit after the weigh-in. He shares his fruit with this guy. I'm like, that saved him, and the taking the knee. Like, instead of just being a big Billy badass and fuck you, William Potter, blah blah blah, you just held composure. You're like, I think I helped you out. I put the voiceover. Like, there's a whole world of guys to fight. We're just all trying to help each other. Yeah, I think that saved you big time. It was a great fight. It was a great performance. But the humility that you offered up to this guy, who is he doing it for a paycheck? Is he doing it because he loves it? I don't know.
And the funny thing is, man, I told you the comments that I was getting. You know, they check on camps and they make comments like, "Oh yeah, you better be ready because you're gonna need it." Well, I train hard, you know. And we wanted to, for this next fight, October 27th, Springfield, Missouri, Shrine Moss. You know, we wanted a test, and this is going to be a great test. You know,
look at this dog. You can keep talking. You can push the fight. Tell them where they can buy tickets and stuff.
Oh yeah. So, Springfield, Missouri, Shrine Mosque. You can actually, I have tickets available in hand. And I think I forgot to freaking man, one person before I jump on that. I wanted to really, really thank the Pain Relief Center of Joplin. And I know I've told you about
that guy's so cool. Greg is so cool. Lori is so cool. I told you that when I came in there and we were filming that day, that I first thought the guy was so cool. I thought, oh, he's just putting up a front. He wants people to come to his business, you know. And we kind of kept filming, and I'm like, he's going to break here. You know, he's going to like snap and say something weird. Kind of keep filming, you know, he's still cool. I turn the camera off, he's still cool. And I'm like, okay, he's just cool as shit.
Dude, I go there before work the other day, and he fixes me up and everything. And I'm like, man, I keep on getting sidetracked, but I keep on looking at these. I got to have one of those.
Oh, I get you hooked up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's talking about one of these.
Yeah.
Which all of you, you know, let me know.
I'm going to throw one
on. You can have one.
Now, just so I can freaking.
Which one you want?
Just so I can rep it while we're. Let me see. Oh yeah, this one. I don't know which
one. Oh, it's the flat belt. It's the black one. Which one? I'm wearing a beanie. I ain't even rep my own company.
I gotta rep it, man. Sorry, I'm.
Yeah, dude. That was one of the experimental ones.
Dude.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I just super stoked about all this, man. I'll even wear it frontward so that we can see it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, fits great.
It looks good. Look at that. Look at it. Oh yeah, look how good that looks on camera.
Way better. Way better. Dude. I still like, you know, this, but this is where it's at, man.
That's badass.
And that's why, dude, I know you probably get annoyed sometimes, but I'm like, dude,
no, I think it's cool.
And after,
it's like someone's paying attention.
After TJ had messaged me that, and it's just like, you know, I believe in what you're doing. I watched your video, and I was like, man, you know, none of this would be possible without Infinite Productions, you know what I mean? Helping me out. And I mean, that was huge for me. And for you to take the time, and not even, you know, I know you took the time, but I mean, your wife, your brother, you know, Caleb Clark, your editors, man, that is just, I kept telling them, I'm mind blown. And I thank you guys so much, man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And it does big things, you know, and for all of us. And this, being in here, man, it's just... Man, and I'm so blessed, and that's why I'm so thankful. Like, anytime somebody wants to do something, I'm like, hey, yeah, let's do that, dude. Yeah. I'm ready, you know what I mean? I'm ready to get some work all the time, you know?
It's the same way, I feel the same way about it as you do fighting. It's just like, this is what I want to do. So if I can, like, just podcast, create things, make videos, like, if I can just do all that and get paid for it and live a nice life, like, I'm in. That's really all I'd like.
All this, like, these podcasts and stuff, and MMA fighters, man, and they do all this stuff. You know?
Yeah.
And this is huge for me because just my story that I want to get out, that I'm trying to get out to people, you know, like, and I know I keep going back to that, but like, man, I'm gonna make it. There's no quit in me. Yeah. There's no end in sight. You know, I work hard for what I want, and I want this, you know, and I want to stay humble, stay respectful, and just show people that you can still be respectful, you can still have a family, you can still change your life around and follow your dreams.
For sure.
Even though I followed so much of my life in the wrong path, you know what I mean? But I'm young enough now.
I was going to say, you said that during the documentary, you know, thank God I'm young enough that
thank God,
I have time.
You know. Thank God I'm young enough and nothing bad happened when I was doing all that. And now I can, I'm making moves, I'm making things happen.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just me making things happen. It's my team that's behind me. My striking coach, Tim Sargent. I mean, you and Infinite Productions. I mean, without my team, without my family, without my sponsors, without Earth Labs, without Midwest Detail, without the Hemp Works, I mean, everybody is on my team. Like, I mean, Doc keeps me 100 before them fights.
Hell
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And man, it just I think people see how hungry I am for this, and I'm just so appreciative, and I think people. I always tell people, like, hey, man, I'm sorry if I'm texting you too much or thanking you too much. Like,
right.
I'm just appreciative and blessed that people are willing to work with me, because I grew up so much in my life where people are like, hey, yeah, you probably shouldn't hang out with that Coleton Cavener kid.
Yeah,
He's on the wrong path.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them, And now, if I can go tell a couple kids, like, I mean, I used to be that guy.
Yeah.
I used to be that guy, and now. You watching my fight, you go to the fights, and I'm blessed. I got a second chance, but don't take it that far. Don't take it that far. I learned the hard way, and nobody could tell me anything. But let me tell you, my outcome.
Look at that.
I went and had to do one of the hardest experiences of my life. You know what I mean? And now
It's like you say, like, yes, it is a blessing, but it was unnecessary.
Yes,
if I could have gotten my mindset right early on, I still would be this grateful and this driven.
Absolutely.
But it just, it took you down that road to understand that.
What I said in that documentary was, if you're out in the streets and you're fighting and doing this and doing that, if you got heart and you want to show people you got heart, throw on a gi. Go to Mat Club, or throw on some gloves. Come to Strike Team. There's so much to do other than, I mean, I'm not saying don't go out and have some beers or whatever, because there's not, just sometimes people forget to quit doing it. Like, you can't be so focused on getting, like, having a good time where you've got to have it, or you can't go without it, or this or that, or
we got to break out of that rigid mindset.
It's like,
right. If you see, and I'm not picking on religion or Christianity or anything, but like if you see like a Christian guy who goes to church and everything, and he's at a sports bar and he's having a beer, like, why do I care? Is he hurting anyone?
No,
is he alcohol?
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. And now if he takes it and he has 10 beers and he's like, hitting on someone's wife and like, okay, well, now we have a problem.
Exactly.
But just the whole idea of let people do what they want to do. Like, even people smoking weed, like, do they get their job done? Are they nice folks? They mow their lawn, pay their taxes,
honestly,
feed their kids? Well, why do I care?
And I'm not, dude, I'm like not against smoking weed at all. And I know there's some people that frown upon it, but
especially where we live, right?
Yeah,
it's just kind of a stigma,
and
a strong one.
And it is what it is, but I'm not gonna turn away. Like if I come and get to talk to a kid, get to work with a kid, and he's like, man, I can't stop smoking weed, or I can't stop doing this, then I'm not just gonna say, you got to quit all of this or I ain't working with you. So we'll take it one step at a time.
Right.
Because once we start working out and then you see, like, man, I'll say give it 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
And then you start rolling and you start lasting longer.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, man.
Yeah.
That felt good, And then, like, I'm all about showing people, like, hey, you did a great job, man. You know what I mean? Like, man, even when me and you were rolling, I'm like, you are strong, bro. and you're heavy on me, and a couple times we both got each other without gloves, kind of just, in the moment. And I'm like, I wanted to text you too and say, man, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate your time. Anybody that invests time into me.
It's fun smashing you.
Yeah, dude. Anybody that invests any time into me, man, I love it.
I was getting so confused because Patrick was yelling out what to do. I didn't know which Coleton he was talking about.
I know, and I was like, dude.
Colton, get out of his guard. I'm like,
I was like, dude.
I mean, he's in my guard. What do I'm looking for a triangle right now, but I don't even know what's going on,
Yeah, I was like, yeah, what is he? who's he talking to? And then he would say something, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, I got you.
I think he was talking to you because he was more like critiquing the fight, like if we were in a fight,
right?
Like don't be there.
Right.
But then I thought he was talking to me.
Yeah, and
don't
then
be
me
there.
and him got to simulating the punches, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow too, dude. Like of us working together. But
this combat jiu-jitsu thing just opened up a whole new door.
Yeah,
just one roll, and I'm like, I told Patrick it was like the first time I ever rolled. The first time I ever rolled was with Jeremiah Ock, and it was after a class, and he was like, "You want to roll?" And I'm like, "I don't, I'm nervous." I'm like, "I don't, maybe it was one, And we roll, tears me up, but I'm like, "Oh my god!"
And
what did I just discover?
If you put on MMA gloves and just kind of see what I like to do.
That's what I want to do.
What I like to do, and I'm really good with working with people because like. Say I'm not gonna punch you, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna like be like, okay,
it's like
if we're here, it's if that.
It's just kind of like, hey, look, you got an opening. Yeah, that's kind of what Patrick did. He kind of hit me a little harder, but
no, yeah. See, I mean,
I told him to though.
Yeah. And you get in the moment.
I liked it though.
You get in the moment where you're like, of course it gets exciting, but and I'm pretty good at keeping calm. Like I get used to getting hit, so like I'll work with you, just show you. And just like, the knowledge I was trying to give you after we roll, like, this is what I felt, when you had your hips here.
Right.
And this is what I felt when you had your hips here.
Right.
And, like, I tell you, like, by no means I'm not trying to tell you I know more or that I'm more knowledgeable.
Right.
But what I felt on me was you were making me work harder when you had me on here.
Right.
Rather than, you know what I'm saying?
Which my reaction to that inside was like, what? Dude, I've been rolling way longer than you. But at the same time, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, just listen, because you were offering valuable information. You were saying, listen, this worked, and you don't even need to know more than me. All you have to say is this. I feel like this worked, and I feel like this didn't, and that's valuable to me.
And everybody's different.
Yeah,
everybody, and that's what I was saying. Like, and I'm not giving you the knowledge so like you could just kick my ass all the time, but I'm like, dude, when you got me here, it was harder for me to do this because my body structure is different than Pat's or than anybody else's. So when you got me here, it was hard for me to go here. And then when you go for this, I got long arms. So, that's just...
Oh, I was cranking the shit out of your... I thought I was going to rip your shoulder off. Because that second time in the... What do they call that? Americana?
Yeah.
In the second Americana, I was like, I'm going to go as far as I can. And I hit the limit, and you're like... Nope.
Yeah.
Like, and dude, what am I gonna do?
That's the thing. Like, and that's the thing. Like, Diaz brothers are my favorite, and I know I jump around a lot just because I'm excited to be here, man, and just talk. But
dude, the whole thing is just talk about whatever,
But like,
my job is to keep it somewhat coherent.
Yeah. So like in my fights a lot, like even rolling, like man, when me and Jeff Law, we spar.
Yeah.
And
he seems like a good fighter.
Yeah, man. We get going. We'll be like, all right, we'll tap. And we'll go a little harder. I'll catch him, and then he'll catch me, and then it just gets heated up, and like I'll jaw at him a little bit, and he'll jaw at me, and it's like it's part of it,
Yeah.
You get somebody,
no doubt.
And then afterwards, it's nothing but hugs and like, great job, you know what I mean?
I think martial arts, more than anything, more than football, soccer, any of that stuff, martial arts is like the number one thing to break down an ego. Like I was saying earlier, where I was like, you don't tell me what to do, I know how to roll. Uh-huh. This is like, that did not last because I've been there already. I've already disregarded someone's opinion or information about a roll. Mm-hmm. I mean, the first time I ever rolled, if you interviewed me 10 minutes before I rolled and you asked me like, how do you think you do in a fight? I'd be like, oh, this guy right here, Jeremiah. Oh, I mean, I'm taller than him. I'm stronger than him. I weigh him. I outweigh him. I'd beat his ass.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, I would have been confused and like, the world is fake. Everything I've known up to this point is false. All the bar fights that I've gotten into in my head, I would have lost.
And that's like some people like. Whenever we went over to Proving Grounds Gym and their coach was like, man, I'm not trying to tell you like change your game or not, kind of what I did with you. And I was like, dude, I'm all ears. Like, you can never learn too much because everybody you're going to fight or roll with is different.
Well, and you don't have to listen. Like you can take it, like someone can say, hey,
what helps you.
Yeah. Someone can be like, hey, by the way, I would try this. And you can go, no, that's bullshit. Right. You can run it past things. You're like, no, I don't think that's right. Like, I know you're a trainer. I know you used to box or whatever it is. It's like, you don't have to accept everything, but I would definitely allow it to be observed a little bit for yourself.
Right.
You know, sift through it. Maybe there's a little gem in there. Maybe there's like one sentence you're like, that's it. He said, "Don't give up." I'll keep that one. You know, the way to hold my wrists while I punch. I know that's bullshit. You know, Tim's taught me well, and I don't think he knows what he's talking about. You know, but you have to be egoless enough to allow that to come in, because your ego will be like, "Fuck you! Don't tell me nothing." You know, like I know what I'm doing. You know, which is not good, because pride becometh before falleth, and that, you know, like many proverbs, is very true. You know, the second you say, you know, it happened to me when I roll with you. I had a thought. I go, this kid, you know, he's a boxer, he's a fighter, you know, I haven't seen him roll. He hasn't ever put out a gi. And then we roll, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm getting tossed around like I'm riding a boat in a storm. I'm like, he's 130 pounds. He's throwing me around. Yeah. I got to watch out. Like, I'm not tapping. I swear to God, I'll go out before Coleton taps me. Dude. But like, I had to pay attention to what is going on.
And I, like, you know, and that's why I want to get belts up though.
I would tap if you made me tap.
Because I've rolled so much with the whole gi thing is new to me, and that's why I'm gonna be spending a lot of time, you know, at mat club,
2+2.
Yeah, you know, because I am very interested in all that, and gi and no gi, man.
I think both offer a lot of value.
And to progress my career, you know, and you know, oh man, I just like working it all. And I work, you know, with Mossberg Boxing as well.
Cool.
You know, I go down there and work with him.
Ryan.
Yeah. He's actually linked up with Earth Labs, and
cool.
And he kind of helped me set up that deal. But man, he's got a lot of good knowledge, good connections. I mean, we talk a lot. And I was supposed to actually go down there for a session tomorrow down in Arkansas, but some stuff came up, and I got to get a hold of him later and let him know. But, you know, I've worked, like you guys were telling me, you know, I worked a lot on my striking, you know, and I still am going to. I still got my days for striking, you know, with my striking coach, and I can get in, you know, I can get in days a week with Mossberg, you know, and, but like you guys were telling me, man, I mean, I don't think I think I can handle my own on the ground.
Oh, no doubt.
You know,
and you proved that last night.
And I'm not worried, you know.
Yeah.
I'm well prepared. I prepare myself for my fights in every way possible. You know, I come in very confident, but I want to learn every day, and I need to work more ground.
Sure.
I want to be able to be dangerous on my feet. I want to be able to be like, okay, I don't want to come in and say this guy's gonna bang us.
Yeah.
If we get him on his back, he's done.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be that guy that's like, we don't know if we want to take that fight yet.
Yeah.
I want to get these progress. Give me a tough fight.
Yeah.
And that's why we talked about this 155. This is gonna be a tough fight.
I think it's gonna be tough.
I believe Tapology.com. You know, you can look up the events. Walkout FC, New Era. It has the fight card up. You know what I mean? And people vote. I am a favorite to win, you know, and
really,
and there's always a little bit of pressure, you know, but I'm a favorite to win, but people get to vote how, and
first round KO.
So no, actually, this 75% of people that have voted say they have Cavener winning by decision. So this could be an all-out 3-round war, and that is what I want. You know what I mean? If you're ready, I'm ready. You know.
Yeah.
I know I'm ready. You know
My question when you told me 155, and I talked to Patrick about it, and he was more concerned than I was, but that's because I'm ignorant to the fight world. Yeah. You know. But my first thought was, do you have enough time between William Potter and this fight to like go to that level of fighting? You know, weight, muscle, technique.
Honestly, man, my camps just keep getting better, and I know it wasn't a full camp, but I feel like if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready as much.
So you're saying momentum from the first camp is kind of bleeding over into this.
Bleeds over, and I mean, I weighed in, you know, and by the time I got home that night, I was 140. I went into that fight almost 150 pounds.
Yeah.
The next day.
Right.
So, you know, it's not like I'm a 135 walk around going up to 155 to fight this guy.
Right.
You know, I'm a walk around at 58, 60, and like I said earlier, man, Honey Badger, Tyler Schmidt, Jarman, man, Brock, they all know what I'm after and how serious I am. And they got a great program for me, you know. They push me hard. You know, not even at the CrossFit gym. We work out extra together. You know, we ride bikes. I got a road bike.
He's the only one that made it twice in the documentary.
Man,
Tyler did.
Man, it's just like, oh man, I'm so thankful. And you know, I'm so thankful for my mom. You know, man, really. And she was kind of harping on me like, I was only in there one time, and my name, you know how moms are.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, Mom, you know, you brought me in here to this world, and everything. Like sometimes, you know, she's like, well, I'm sorry about the things I've done in the past, and I'm like, don't be. Like everything that's happened, I don't want to go back on anything that's happened in my life. You know, I just want to progress. I just want to keep progression, and I want to show people. And not it's nothing about proving. You know, I have nothing to prove. I just want to get it out there. Like, if you have faith, if you believe, you know what? I keep going back to Lopez. You know, he said, ultimately, you have to believe in yourself. You know, and that hit me home. If you believe in yourself, you can make it happen, man. And I believe in myself 100%. And I'm keeping myself pushing hard. And this 155, it's a one and done, man. I'm not staying at 55. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a 55er. We got a good plan for this one. Good game plan. This camp's going strong. I feel great. Man, I feel great. You know, I'm gonna be able to enjoy weigh-ins, like I said. But my next one, you know, 135 is my class, and I feel like I'm a strong 135er, you know, in the division, and that's not, you know, I don't ever be cocky, and that's why you'll never hear me really call out an opponent. You know, that's not really my thing. You know, I got my own people in my mind, like.
Don't you want to get paid, bro?
No doubt.
Like McGregor.
No doubt. But I'm not really that guy to be like, you know, I want you. You better look out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You know, in my mind.
Maybe at some point, though.
Yeah. But in my mind, I got people that I'm going after.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think they know it.
Yeah.
You know, 135 division, you know, around here is not too big.
Doesn't go too deep.
So I'm going for them, you know. I mean.
But I think you'd call them out in a good way,
respectful
way. But you're saying, you know, like, I don't know, Brendan, whatever. You know, I want to fight you because the way that you fight, the way that you train, the way that you come to the octagon is interesting to me, and I want to try. I want to see what happens when we get when we get together.
And you know, of course, I want to get this out there, for sure. You know. I do want that 135 title, you know, and I know I have to work my way up to it.
What title?
WFC, and I know
WFC.
Walkout.
Is that a nation thing?
It's just walkout. No, it won't. It's a, you know, each promotion has their own. But this WFC is in October. This October fight. Yeah, the 27th.
Okay, is that a national thing, a local thing?
You know, they go all around there. It's each promotion has a. I mean, it's basically like a Missouri.
Okay, Missouri.
So
you want to be the 135
walkout FC, you know. But I mean, if there's other shows, you know, and I'm not necessarily saying like, you know, Graham, I want to come fight you next. You know, I'm not saying that.
You heard it here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying there's a right time, you know, and a smart guy told me that I really admire. He said. He told me that he got in a hurry in his career and wanted to do things like that. Well, he gave me some knowledge, and like, if they put people in front of you, if it's all about timing. You don't have to pick your fights. You know, it's all about timing, the right time, the right fights. You know, at the right time.
Right.
And you know, I feel like my mindset right now is the best that you know, it's just I'm focused. You know, I feel great. I take care of my body. I'm putting in the work. You know. I really enjoy the work, like I say, that everybody gives me, you know, the knowledge, everybody helps. And man, I'm so thankful, you know, and like I say, I don't like to just call out people. I want to work my way up, you know. I'm just 2-0 pro right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I got to earn my right.
Of course.
To be able to say, I want you, or I want you, you know.
Right.
You know, you got to earn that right, just like anywhere else. You've got to earn the right to be able to start calling, start doing this, start doing that. You gotta earn it in anywhere you go. Just like Lopez said, if you've gotta, we talked about belting up. He said, I won't belt up anybody. You gotta get in here and get the work up.
Oh yeah.
And I
think he's pretty good about that.
Yeah. And he's a great guy, and I'm like, yeah, I would, I love the work. So, man, it's awesome, man. And another thankful, these people sponsor a lot of like Bellator guys, and they sponsor a couple of UFC guys. Bellator.
No, who sponsors them?
Oh, RDX Sports. What I told you before.
Oh, the sports management, basically.
Well, it's RDX. They have equipment.
Okay.
And they had sponsored me a while back, and quarterly they send me some gear and different things like that, and that is huge, And
shout out to RDX.
Yeah, shout out to RDX for sure. I gotta shoot him a tag and that.
Oh yeah, of course. It's a big one.
Because that is huge, man, and just nobody is too little or too big. Everybody that helps us out in this game is so appreciated. Like, I keep going back and saying like how thankful I am just to be sitting down here with you and talking.
Oh, it's been cool as shit,
dude. I love it, man, and that's why I was texting you last night. I'm like, dude, are we still cool for tomorrow? Like, I've never even done this, so I was kind of like a little nervous,
Yeah. But it's funny how many people come on and have never done it.
Really?
Probably my last 3 people. They're just like, I've never done a podcast before. I've listened to a bunch of them, but I've never done one. It's like, well, it's just a conversation, That's it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah. I just record it. There'd be nothing different if these things weren't here. And we were like, hey, well, let's sit down and have coffee for 2 hours. We would have talked about the same stuff. We would have said the same things, There's no like showmanship. There might be a little bit on my end, but
Look what I just did.
You miss your mouth?
I got it in there, but I thought my cup was a little...
It's like Space Jam, like, I'm good, coach. Just sprays it past his head.
I thought my cup was a little less full than it was.
Hey, you got to go or anything? It's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, probably should
Better
burn
jet?
out. Yeah, my son's game's about to start. But
that's cool.
Man, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Man.
It was a great conversation.
Awesome.
Because I have
Time flew by, dude.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Jeez, man.
You just keep talking. But I was curious about the whole, like, what happened thing. So I'm cool. I think it's cool we got to talk about it and just, I'd never interrupted. It's just like a nice detailed, like whatever you wanted to say, that's what you got to say.
Right, man.
I think that's cool.
I appreciate it, man. And like I said, I want to just thank everybody, man. And there's so much more to come. I'm not stopping. And that's why I was talking to you, man. We'll talk later, but to get in here and start like a weekly thing or
dude,
something,
There's a lot of things happening local, like I'm trying to keep the Ugly Fox going and help that whole thing out. I forget about that.
Dude, no, I couldn't forget about him, man.
Yeah.
He is the Eagle, blew my mind.
Yeah.
And his killer haircuts, man. My wife's very picky and she had loved it, and I was like, dude, man, you're my guy, man.
That's Tug. I know he's kind of being flaky
he's
right
so
now.
cool, dude.
Yeah. I love him. Love him.
Man, he's got a lot going on, but he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Man. I really like him.
He's just going through some tough things right now. I don't even know if I want to say it on the podcast.
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to get him through as best I can without like forcing things, because if he needs to do his thing and step away, then great. But at the same time, I'm like, man, you built this from nothing, and it could all go away in one sentence,
Right.
And I don't know if you can get it back. So, but anyway, people like that, I like to be involved with, surrounded by, and inspired by people like you. I just had Zach Collard on. I love Zach. Like people that are, dedicated to this region and are trying to do something with their lives or with this area. Like that's kind of where I am right now. So like awesome. when we started working together, if I would have filmed you and you were a douchebag and everything, I would have cut you a video, but I would have been like, here's 5 minutes. But it was cool because the further we got involved, it was like, oh, his story is cool. His mentality, like he's not trying to be all, I'm a badass or whatever. It's just cool.
That's just me. Yeah. And I don't want nobody to like think like, I don't want to do this because like I want everybody to see that I'm a fighter.
Right.
It's so much more than just fighting.
Of course. Man.
Yeah. Family, man. There's so much I put into this, and I love it, and you too.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
It's great. Dude. Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So.
And that's what I do. That's my whole thing. Is like if you're doing it, like if you're really doing it, I want to help. I want to get you on the podcast. I want to try to blast you out. I want to do videos. Like I did a video for you for free, for fucking free. Right. Nothing, no problem. And no, I'm not saying like I'm not hanging that over your head.
But that's why I tell you, like, you've done big things for me.
Same with like the Fox. Like I believe in that place, and like I do videos for him because I believe in it and I want to see it succeed. You know, and anything else I'm involved with, like I don't like to charge people, and I kind of have to sometimes because I got to live.
Speaking of, hold on, I'm gonna make sure you. I don't think you got back with me on this, and I'm gonna get you.
Oh, you want the Fox logo, don't you?
Well, not that. Oh. I mean, yeah, that too. But just so I can get him on there. But I told you that I was gonna get you a couple of shirts because your logo's on your shirts, and I'm passing them out the 24th.
Yeah, nice.
Like I said, man, we taking care of each other. So you're
right.
Like you're part of me, man. You're part of my team. You're part of everything that I'm working for.
Right.
So I want to take care of you just as much, man.
Exactly.
Anything you need, you know what I mean? Like I consider us, if we're part of the team, we're family.
That's right, dude.
I mean? I love that.
That's the whole tribe mentality of this area. Like if you're trying to do it, okay, I got your back.
Yes,
I got your back. I got the equipment. I got the vision. I'll do what I can, and they do that in return.
I'm actually gonna call you later so we can talk more because I wanna get something. I'm gonna think about something that I would like to get set up, like a weekly, like this week on the show. You know, we're gonna talk about this with Coleton or you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
You know, just
it's too easy. It's too freaking easy.
All right, man. I'm
two mics and a computer, and you're good.
And we can and people can people will tune in because you know I got a great following. People like to hear. Yeah. And I love to talk to them, you know, you do. Just tell them. So, hey, forget you. But, you know, I just like to tell like, okay, hey, Coleton, and that's even catchy. Hey, Coleton and Coleton are talking about this subject on this day.
Right.
It'll be released on this day. We can all watch it and check it out.
Oh, well, the goal would be, and I know how to do it, I just don't have the monetary funds. So if you're out there, you want to donate, is go live, be able to go live. So we have this contraption, this piece of technology that hooks up to the computer and the soundboard and everything, and literally we can go to YouTube and stream it live.
So what is something like that run?
$2,000 and a third person, we're good. So instead of me taking in the recording and trying to get it all done and, you know, releasing it 2 or 3 days later, literally we could podcast a day before your fight and you could promote the hell out of it, and it could go up that night an hour after we do it, you know. Or people could watch it live. They could literally just sit there and be like, oh, SciFi and Friends is live, let's see what's up, and they could just be watching through the cameras live.
I'm digging.
That's the next step, you know. I mean, it takes, like you said, it takes time. You know, I gotta get a following, you gotta get monetary things, but
we're definitely gonna. I'm gonna think about a few things. I'm gonna go to my son's game, but I'm gonna think about a few things, and then I'm going to call you later. You busy later? I'm going to call you later.
I'm just going to Decades on Wheels. I'm going to check it out.
Well, I may shoot you a text, and then if you're home later on, I'll talk to you. I kind of got a couple ideas. Maybe we can work together and get something
Absolutely.
cracking.
It'll be cool, dude.
Brother. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, anytime, dude. Come on, anytime. Alrighty. Thank you for listening to the SciFi and Friends podcast once more. Took another podcast virginity. Took another one. Alrighty. Like I always say, if you want to come on the podcast, let me know. Or if you know someone that would be interesting to bring on the podcast, let me know, and I will get them on as soon as I can. I know there are some people that I've been trying to get on for a while. Have faith. I'm working. There's a lot of things going on. You got the downstream documentary I kind of have to finish up, and you know, a couple other video projects, and it's good. It's good to be busy. But it's tough being busy sometimes and keeping everything going. And it's deer season, and Lopez just announced yesterday that November is going to be no-gi November. So God, you know, I'm going to be at the gym so much.
No-gi November.
No-gi November. I mean, no-gi. I would do no-gi forever if I could. But so anyway, well, thanks for listening. We will see you soon. Peace.